Welcome to Nightmare Abbey. Hello, bookworms. Are you ready to dive into a world where the eerie meets the hilarious? Buckle up, because you're in for a treat. Ever wondered what happens when you mix spooky castles with hilarious characters? Imagine a place where the walls whisper secrets, and the characters are as quirky as they come. That's Nightmare Abbey for you. A funny book written by Thomas Love Peacock. Peacock was a master at blending humor with the macabre, creating a unique world that both spooks and entertains. Peacock loved poking fun at things people took too seriously. He had a knack for turning the serious into the absurd, making readers laugh at the very things they once found daunting. In Nightmare Abbey, he's making fun of those super dramatic, gloomy books that were popular back then. These were the kind of books that took themselves way too seriously, and Peacock saw the perfect opportunity to inject some humor. Get ready to meet some really strange and funny people. Each character in Nightmare Abbey is a delightful caricature, exaggerated to the point of hilarity. They are the heart and soul of this whimsical tale. They live in a big creepy house called Nightmare Abbey. This isn't your typical haunted mansion. It's a place where the bizarre and the comical coexist in perfect harmony. Trust me, this book is a wild ride. From unexpected twists to laugh-out-loud moments, Nightmare Abbey keeps you on your toes. So grab your favorite reading spot and let's embark on this spooky, funny adventure together. Meet Mr. Cypress, the gloomy guy. First up, we have Mr. Cypress. This guy is like a walking rain cloud. He's always sad and loves talking about depressing stuff. Imagine someone who cries during comedies. That's Mr. Cypress. Peacock is making fun of people who are always gloomy. Mr. Cypress is a total exaggeration, but that's what makes him so funny. You won't believe the things he says. Scythrop, the lovesick romantic, a young man with a heart full of dreams and a head full of romantic notions. He spends his days lost in thoughts of love, scribbling away in his journal, surrounded by hearts and flowers. His messy hair and dreamy eyes tell the story of a soul deeply immersed in the world of romance. Next, we have Scythrop, Mr. Cypress's son. Born into a family of wealth and status, Scythrop has always had everything he could ever want, except for one thing: true love. His father, Mr. Cypress, is a man of practicality and reason, often finding his son's romantic inclinations baffling and somewhat amusing. He's obsessed with love and all things romantic. Scythrop's mind is a whirlwind of heart-shaped clouds and romantic symbols, constantly dreaming of grand gestures and epic love stories. He believes in the kind of love that sweeps you off your feet and changes your life forever. The problem is, he has no idea what real love is. Despite his obsession, Scythrop is often confused and puzzled by his own feelings. His thoughts are a jumble of mixed emotions, and he struggles to understand the true nature of love. Is it just a fleeting feeling or something deeper and more profound? Scythrop is head over heels for a girl named Marionetta. In his mind, Marionetta is the epitome of perfection, the muse of his romantic fantasies. He spends countless hours daydreaming about her, imagining a life where they are together, happy and in love. He writes her poems and dreams about running away with her. Scythrop pours his heart out in his poems, each word a testament to his undying love for Marionetta. He dreams of whisking her away to a far-off land where they can live out their days in blissful romance, away from the prying eyes of society. But guess what? Marionetta isn't really interested in all that mushy stuff. Despite Scythrop's best efforts, Marionetta remains indifferent to his advances. She finds his romantic gestures over the top and somewhat ridiculous, often rolling her eyes at his declarations of love. Peacock is making fun of how silly romantic ideas can be sometimes. Even the peacock in the garden seems to mock Scythrop's romantic ideals, laughing at the exaggerated expressions of love that he so earnestly believes in. It's a reminder that sometimes love isn't as simple or as grand as we imagine it to be. The mysterious Mr. Asterias. Then there's Mr. Asterias. A man of many quirks and peculiarities, he is a figure that intrigues and baffles everyone at Nightmare Abbey. He's a mysterious guy who shows up at Nightmare Abbey. His arrival is always shrouded in an air of enigma, leaving everyone guessing about his true intentions and origins. Nobody knows much about him, but he sure loves to talk. His conversations are filled with grandiose tales and elaborate theories that leave his audience both fascinated and bewildered. Mr. Asterias is full of himself and thinks he's super smart. He carries himself with an air of superiority, often looking down on others as if they couldn't possibly understand the depths of his intellect. He's always going on about science and philosophy, but he doesn't always know what he's talking about. His speeches are filled with jargon and complex terms, but when you dig deeper, you realize he often misses the mark. Peacock is using Mr. Asterias to make fun of people who think they're really clever, but actually aren't. Through Mr. Asterias, Peacock cleverly critiques those who put on airs of intelligence without the substance to back it up. Mr. Asterias spends a lot of time in the library, surrounded by books and charts. He often pretends to be deep in thought, examining ancient texts and scientific diagrams, but more often than not, he's just putting on a show. He loves to give lectures on various topics, from the mysteries of the universe to the intricacies of human nature. However, his audience is usually left more confused than enlightened, struggling to follow his convoluted explanations. Despite his self-assured demeanor, many at Nightmare Abbey see through his facade. They recognize that his confidence is often misplaced, and that his knowledge is not as profound as he believes. Mr. Asterias is always trying to impress others with his supposed brilliance. He goes to great lengths to showcase his intelligence, but his efforts often backfire, leading to eye rolls and stifled laughter from those around him. In his quest to prove his genius, Mr. Asterias often conducts experiments that end in disaster. His lab is a chaotic mess, filled with half-finished projects and failed attempts at groundbreaking discoveries. Despite his many flaws, there's something endearing about Mr. Asterias. His determination and unwavering belief in his own abilities, though misguided, make him a memorable and intriguing character in the world of Nightmare Abbey. And so, the mysterious Mr. Asterias continues his journey, leaving a trail of confusion and curiosity in his wake. His presence at Nightmare Abbey is a constant reminder that true wisdom often lies in recognizing the limits of one's own knowledge. But wait, there's more. Nightmare Abbey is full of other crazy characters. There's the Reverend Mr. Larynx, who loves to eat and talk, and Miss Toobad, who's always predicting doom and gloom. Peacock has created this whole cast of characters to make fun of different types of people. Each character is like a funny stereotype. So what's the story really about? Well, it's about love, but not in a soppy way. Peacock makes fun of all the romantic cliches. He shows us how silly love can be when people get carried away. The whole story is like a parody of those old Gothic novels, the ones with creepy castles and mysterious strangers. Don't worry, Nightmare Abbey isn't all lovey-dovey stuff. There are plenty of other funny moments. For instance, there's a running gag about a mysterious manuscript. Everyone's trying to figure out what it says, but it turns out to be something totally ridiculous. Peacock loves surprising his readers and making them laugh. He wanted to show that even serious things can be funny. Remember how we said Peacock was making fun of romantic literature? Well, he does this by exaggerating everything. The characters are super dramatic, the setting is over-the-top gloomy, and the plot is full of ridiculous twists and turns. Peacock is basically saying, hey, look how silly this all is. He's making us laugh at things that were taken very seriously at the time. One of the things that makes Nightmare Abbey so incredibly funny is its over-the-top nature. Everything is exaggerated, from the characters' wild personalities to the ridiculous situations they find themselves in. Peacock masterfully uses exaggeration to create humor and to brilliantly highlight the absurdity of certain ideas. It's like looking at the world through a whimsical funhouse mirror. So why should you read Nightmare Abbey? Because it's hilarious. It's a book that will make you laugh out loud, even if it was written over 200 years ago. Peacock's humor is timeless. He makes fun of things that are still relevant today, like our obsession with love, our fear of the unknown, and our tendency to take ourselves too seriously. Dive into Nightmare Abbey. If you're looking for a book that's both clever and funny, Nightmare Abbey is the perfect choice for you. It's a light-hearted read that will leave you feeling entertained and maybe even a little bit smarter than before, So what are you waiting for? Grab a copy and get ready to laugh out loud.